I just spent the last few hours soaking in the mineral hot springs of Huichol Hot Springs Resort. And although the sulfur waters are natural, they come right out of the ground, they're uncontaminated with chlorine, really wonderful, healing, warm waters. The Huichol Hot Springs Resort is not the original. The original hot springs resort was Lake Lazare, and around the banks of Lake Lazare on the mesa were important and perpetually used Native American villages. This whole open area around Huichol, this valley, was used as a meeting place and trading hub for the Native Americans that would have been what is now the California-Mexico border. So I'm going to explore around Lake Lazare and show you the village here on the mesa, and then we'll go look at some of the pictographs that are very close to this area. This water is about 70 degrees and it comes right up from the center of the earth. This is part of the original hot springs resort. This is Lake Lazare behind it. This is what would have filled up the lake. That's the old pump house right back there. And there's some old cement swimming pools kind of behind it. I was told some of the locals use this. Looks like they do. There's a lot of things floating in there. I would be concerned for my safety, but hey, you know, to each his own. I touched the water. It is nice and warm. Huichol is a pretty interesting community. I was just hiking around here with a local firefighter, and he was telling me that this over here is a hut where people, he doesn't know who, do psychedelic drugs. Very exciting. And I was speaking to somebody in the hot springs that was telling me that at the east side of Huichol is where extremely dangerous sexual offenders are wearing ankle cuffs and are housed in like a halfway house kind of facility out there on the edge of town. They come from San Diego. So sorry, Huichol. I know you guys probably don't love that, but it is a really interesting place down here at what has become a border between two countries, but used to be just part of the Native American ancestral homeland that reached from Baja California up into parts of Southern California and over into Arizona, the human speakers. Whoa, those are so deep. God, those are huge. Oh, we got a few more shallow ones over here. Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful village site. Here, this location, out to the west, we get sea breezes that kind of counteract the heat coming off the desert to that direction. The healing mineral springs, sulfur waters. Gorgeous. Paradise. I don't know if you can see, there's water down there in the marshland. That's part of this warm mineral springs. And do you hear all the birds? Listen to this. Aha! Evidence of fishing. But that seems like an awfully strange and big fishing implement for this tiny little bit of water. I don't know what they're catching over here. Up in the Carrizo Badlands, there were ancient seasonal gathering villages where the Kumeyaay, the human speakers, the the old ones would live during the winter and gather and have, you know, there used to be lots of palm groves like these. There were marshlands, there was water, there were running springs. This was a wonderful place to live in the winter. And then when it got hot down here in the summer, and not so much because it was hot, but because it got warmer in the mountains, then people would move from the desert floor, which wasn't so much of a desert then, and up into the mountains and collect the food that was growing in the mountains after the snow melt. So from villages like this one, which you can place somewhere around Bow Willow and Carrizo Creek, at sort of either end of Carrizo Creek along this latitude in the Anza Borrego, people would hike down Carrizo Canyon all the way to Huichol to trade, travel, go to the sacred mountain, like that. So if you can even do that today. You can hike all the way down Carrizo Canyon down into Huichol. So even today we've got bees hovering around this puddle of water. And there was just some butterflies. I'm probably responsible for murdering half the population of the butterflies this year. They're all stuck in the grill of my Jeep. But groundwater here, even in this day of drought, even in this modern day, there's still water that could sustain a small group of people here. Everybody, or many people, have heard of the La Rumorosa site, which is in Baja, just over the border in Mexico. It's a pretty famous solstice site that has a sun dagger that pierces the head of a pictograph of a person. That's part of this territory. There's a cave just a couple of miles from here that has similar features. These were the same people. This Baja California, Southern California region was just one. So if I'm one of the people who spends the winters in this seasonal camp, which is near Bow Willow, I may spend my winters here and then hike down Carrizo Canyon and spend some time in the Huichol area, and then maybe even continue on further south for a different season, or maybe my cousins would come from down in Baja California during the winter up to Huichol and then go to someplace up in the mountains for the summer. So I'm back down, as promised, I'm back down in the Huichol area, and I have permission to hike on this private property to look at the pictographs that are here. And I have a little host taking me around now. I've adopted a dog en route. This is going to be great. This tour guide here knows exactly how to get around this fence to get where we need to go. He went some secret route behind the rocks. I'm just going to pop over right here. We're heading over there. I'm going to push in on this just so you can see with the naked eye what there is to see. You are going to lose your ever-loving mind when you see how much is invisible here. Well, this doesn't look like much to the naked eye, but I'll tell you what's going on here. Okay, See the color of the rocks? I'll go down there in a minute, but it's kind of this brownish color. And then this hole, this kind of opens up into a white bowl. Across the white bowl are painted lines of red. And this guy seems to be kind of floating up into the white area, up into those lines. And then over here, we have a few lines of red also. Down here are a series of ladders. Here we've got some monkey steps, some little foot and handholds. I don't know if you can see them. The sun's kind of direct. Let's pop up there and see what's up there. You're absolutely not going to believe this. Okay, what made me even look at this rock was I saw a little black feather fluttering at the top of the rock here. And birds seemed to guide me. So I thought, well, I better follow it. And then I saw the monkey steps. So I pop up here. Check this out. This is crazy. Do you see what this is? A large bird has been sitting up here eating dinner. His dinner was rabbit. Isn't that nuts? But other than eviscerated rabbit, I don't see anything man-made up here. Some natural water pockets, really beautiful. And the landscape all around is fantastic. It's all just a lot of bedrock. Check it out. So today I have permission to park and hike at this clothing optional resort. And I tell you, I could not be clothing optional. I think my option is always clothing because I'm always cold. God, I would be miserable if I was naked all the time. I'm always freezing. But you would get a nice even tan. Anyway, check this out. This is where we're going. Oh, cool, right? Oh gosh, these are so faint. I almost missed them. Invisible practically to the naked eye. Just gotta know what you're looking for, right? See how that's natural oxidation? That's a natural white part of the rock, and then you gotta look for something that just doesn't fit, you know, but so faint. All right, let's de-stretch this. Let's see what we got. Okay, but right next to that we have a few little grinding holes and a panel with some white paint, which is a lot easier to see. I think it's so interesting that consistently, and especially here, yesterday, looking at the panel that was near the oak grove, near this, on the private property I was on. The pictographs are in the white space. You know, it's red and white paint in the white space. Here again, got all this coloration in the rock, and then surrounded by black, and in the light space place the images. I'd really like to know, I think it's more than a palette, or sorry, more than a canvas kind of situation. I think it's, you know, certain boulders are chosen. There's nothing special about this boulder, actually. You know, there's way better wind cave rock shelters that I've seen in these last few days. This one just has this particular kind of coloration. It's a stripe all down the rock. To my eyes, it makes me think of the Milky Way. Let's see what these images are. We'll de-stretch. Here we got another little spot here, a little camping spot under this huge, beautiful boulder. I'm grinding holes in a couple of little pictographs right up here, directly facing the last one. Look here again, these pictographs are inside. I'm just going to call it, just for frame of reference, just the Milky Way. This is my Milky Way. I'm not saying it. The people who painted it called it the Milky Way. I'm just calling it the Milky Way. See, there's the oxidized red rocks to either side, and then the pictographs are within the Milky Way. And these are so old. See this black paint? It's so old that actually there's been water erosion that's brought some, you know, some dirt or lichen or whatever it is that this is over the images. It's not, it doesn't appear to be rubbed away. It appears to be buried, you know, under new erosion, if that's what you want to call that. What's the most prominent thing on the landscape? Oh, how about this ginormous split boulder? I wonder if that was significant to anybody. I wonder if there might be pictographs near something like this. Let's check. Oh! So if I were to keep hiking up this trail and up over the hill, I would come into Huichol. Now this village very close to Huichol, I guess, could be considered part of the Huichol zone. So I guess we all knew I was going to go ahead and hike that trail all the way to Huichol, right? So that's what I've done. Behind me, this is where we came from, the valley behind that mountain, behind that hill. And then here we are at Huichol. Huichol is this huge open valley that joins the North American continent to Central America. Right over there, you can see a brown line crossing the landscape there. That's the wall, the famous wall, the border wall, the wall that has become the division between two countries. But just plop right over that wall or through one of the gates in that wall, that is now Mexico. It didn't used to always be Mexico. It just used to be part of the land of the people, the Kumeyaay land, the human speakers. This was the territory. And all around us are mountain ranges in every direction, leading up into the desert and then leading over to the coast. This Huichol, you see this big, beautiful open land? That's where the sacred Huichol hot springs are. You can stay, if you have emotional issues, if you have body issues, you could stay and camp there as long as you need to until you feel better. But also, Huichol is the meeting place. It's the place where tribes from all over the region could meet and trade stories and trade goods and celebrate the dances, celebrate the holidays. This is the hub. This is the important hub of the Anza Borrego region. It joins your cousins that live down in Baja California. It joins your cousins that live in the coast. It joins your cousins that live at the Colorado River. It joins your cousins that spend their winters high in the desert of the Anza Borrego. This is it. This is the wonderful, eccentric, fantastic, interesting Huichol that we've been looking at and traveling around and exploring the last few days. I hope you like this. If you want to talk some more about these topics, please join the Facebook group Ancient Southwest. You can see more videos like this and more stories and more writing and more pictures at theancientsouthwest.com. There you can also see some artwork that I make in the style of the Huichol of Mexico. It's a hobby of mine, but I support this channel by selling these pieces of art. So if you like what you see here, you're having a good time here, maybe you want to buy a gift for yourself or for a friend, and it helps me out with the gas money to travel to Huichol and spend that $25 for the day use at the hot springs, which I am going to do now. See you next time. Thank you.